The Prophet Muhammad ﷺ said, al-haya min al-iman, that shyness is from the faith. And this is a hadith or a piece of guidance that wouldn't really be very popular these days for reasons. Because a lot of people don't realize that a lot of what is trendy or a lot of what is kind of put value on is reacting to something else historically, right? So whenever the one side goes to an extreme in something, you just have to wait for the pendulum to swing back the other way, and they go to the other extreme. So there was a time in North America or in European culture where there might have been some extremes that were gone to when it comes to proprietary behaviors or how do you act with other people. I'll give you an example. Like, for example, with gender relations, women changed their last names to their husband's last names. Why? Because for a long time, women were not considered legal entities. They were not legally responsible individuals under European law. If somebody's wife committed a crime, then the husband was going to go to jail, right? Yeah. So that's a whole other level of ignorance, and completely un-Islamic. But if that's where we're coming from, and women should be, like not heard and like no, and all this other stuff. Now we're swinging back to the other extreme, and this is not just for women. This is for everybody, where we've kind of taken to relishing a crudeness and a crassness, and we imagine that this is somehow more authentic and more real. If I curse and I say lewd things or inappropriate things or talk about certain things that nobody else is talking about, bodily functions or intimacy or whatever. And so the main point is that these things, they swing back and forth, and they're largely products of history and people reacting to other sorts of things within history. Whereas the guidance that we get from faith that's communicated to us from a divine source, we know that that's the middle ground. That's the right way. That's neither extreme on this side nor extreme on that side. And the Prophet ﷺ said that shyness is from the faith. And he didn't say shyness for women. He said shyness in general, right? Every single Muslim should have a certain amount of shyness when they are in certain company, when they talk about certain things. We're not crude. We're not supposed to be a crude people, right? So when it comes to the topics of the things that we talk about, we don't talk about things in a way that takes away from our dignity, that takes away from our integrity. Now, that doesn't mean that we're all a bunch of prudes and we don't enjoy intimacy, or we don't have parts of our lives that, these sorts of, that is the subject matter of a lot of this sort of talk. But just because it's part of our lives doesn't mean I have to talk about it. And especially doesn't mean I have to put it up on social media, and especially doesn't mean that I have to put it on display for strangers. There's a time and a place. Discretion, right? It's all about discretion. Not everything is for every single audience. There's going to be, you've got concentric circles. You've got your spouse, you've got your children, you've got your nuclear family, your extended family, your best friends, and your kind of acquaintances, and so on and so forth. And every single level in that schema has a different level of proprietariness and courtesy and custom. And it shouldn't all just be flattened into one sort of thing. That's not real. That's not being real. It's actually, a lot of times, it's being fake.